BPPA and the police department, they're overworked, disrespected, and they need a break. Thanks, Jim.
Appreciate your call and appreciate your service, and I hope you have a great retirement. Jimmy, still there?
If I need him, he's calling you from his cell phone.
Jim, thanks for your service. Thank you much. Have happy retirement, okay?
Thank you very much. Appreciate
You're welcome.
that.
You're welcome. Didn't want to cut you off. Let me go to Neil in Boston. Neil, you are next on Nightside with Larry Calderon. Go right ahead, Neil.
Hey, Dan. Thanks for having me. The show's great as usual. I just want to say that Larry Calderon has been brave in the field, and he's been an unbelievable leader of his representation of his membership in the BVPA. The other thing I want to say to you is I have specific knowledge of the way, when Larry speaks about the residency that was waived for the civilians of the Boston Police Department. It's outrageous that this administration doesn't feel that the men and women of the BPD, that the Patrolman Association that are out there risking their lives every day, isn't deserving of the same type of waiver of residency. To say that you can bring someone in 6 months at a time and you know, hopefully reestablish your family in Boston, like Larry says, the second most expensive rent in the entire country, is again outrageous. This administration really has to concentrate on taking care of the members of the oldest department in the country and help them, you know, be the best that they can be in the city of Boston. The superintendent, Commissioner Cox has the right idea when he wants to, you know, like Larry said, he's talking about this, but something more concrete has to happen on behalf of the sworn men and women that support and serve the city of Boston in order to continue to protect.
Larry, I assume you agree with that.
Let me tell you, I'm going to have to ask Neil, you should apply for a job within the BPPA. I need more people like you that can put well-spoken thoughts together and be articulate in the things that the city administration and the police department should be doing. I mean, look, we support lateral transfers. We need as much help as quickly as possible that we can get it. But again, let's touch on the failures in the city. Who wants to move their family here? We had another teacher attacked just I think yesterday or the day before, walking a student home because the student was afraid for their safety. We have a teacher and a student that were jumped and knocked unconscious by other students, but yet we can't have police officers in the schools. For the last 15 or 20 years that I've been a police officer, our school unit, along with the city police school unit in the schools, they worked together and students felt safe and they had someone to go talk to behind the scenes when they needed a walk home or if there was a disruptive student that might be carrying a weapon. Things are totally out of control in the school system in Boston. We have kids carrying knives, they're stabbing kids in the bathroom, they're firing rounds from firearms outside the school. You know, it's a danger zone, it's a war zone. And how are we educating kids in the city of Boston if we can't protect them? If we can't protect the teachers and the students, why would anybody want to move here and become a police officer and put their kids in public school? It's just not a reality.
Well, I think that there has to be a whole attitudinal change, frankly, within the political structure of this city. That is really what I think we're all talking about here, and that there's going to be, you know, well, there have been problems. I mean, teachers have been beaten up, knocked out, and no discipline or protection within the Boston Public Schools. Neil, I'm up on my break. I got to let you go. You should think about becoming a police officer. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Neil. Just want to say, Larry, thanks for the continued bravery and support of those sworn officers in the city of Boston. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Larry, so far, a pretty good night here on Nightside. I think people understand what you're saying. We'll be back on Nightside right after this with Larry Calderon. We got 3 calls from Boston lineup. We're going to try to get them all in. John in Boston. John, first on Nightside with Larry Calderon, president of the Boston Police Patrolman Association. Go ahead, John. We lost John. Okay, we lost John. Maybe John will call back. Sorry, let me go next to Tom. Tom, you're in Boston with Larry Calderon. Go right ahead, Tom.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Tom McKeever here with SEIU Local 888. I just wanted to call in, and I just wanted, we at Local 888 tip our cap to the BPPA, the men and women in uniform, and Larry Calderon for his leadership.
Well, thank you very much, Larry.
Hey, Tom, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy night. I love the words of encouragement. I'm going to pass that right along to the men and women that are answering those calls for service out there. I truly and sincerely appreciate your organization looking out for the men and women in uniform. And we're right there for you as well as all the citizens we protect. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your time, Tom.
My pleasure. So I know you have a lineup here, Dan. I just wanted to say that in my professional career, this is the first time that I've seen in a long time that where unions are working in a collaborative nature, and we are sharing a lot of information and material, and ultimately, I think that the employer needs to be worried about that because there's no better time than to be affiliated with a union or to organize, and we're going to continue to foster this relationship with our partners.
Well, I think you're right, and I think that you cannot be split up and divided. I think you have to stand together, and I hope all of you work in unison. Obviously, you work together on the streets. I think you need to work together in terms of negotiations with the city as well. Tom, I appreciate what your guys do as well.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
Let's keep rolling. Let me go back to having trouble dropping these calls, Rob. Can you please drop that third call, number 3? Thank you. We'll reboot the phones in a little while here. Let me go to John back in Boston. John, I hope you're there. I know you dropped off before. Go right ahead.
Thanks, Dan. Mr. Calderon. I'll make it real quick. Basically, I looked up Realtor.com. The average median listing price for a home in Boston, $799,000. That's a lot of money for a police officer to have to come up with to live in Boston, number one. Politicians are out of touch. It costs them money. Dan, I have friends that are police officers. They arrest a guy who's got a gun. I wouldn't want to arrest a guy who's got a gun. He's got an illegal gun. The DA lets the guy out the next day. They arrest the same guy, Dan, a week later. He's got another illegal gun. The DA lets the guy out the next day. They are playing games with the lives of police officers. Those guys are endangering the life of someone who's got a gun. I mean, they're endangering their own lives by arresting someone who's got a gun. And the politicians and the DAs let these guys off. They're not serious about taking care of business. They're playing games with the lives of police. Now you get a pregnant police officer who can't get the funding when she gets pregnant. That's disrespecting. There's a culture here in Boston. I hope that people all around the country hear this. There's a culture here in Boston. You're disrespecting police officers. I'd recommend don't work in Boston because your lives are in danger and it's going to cost you a fortune to live here and you're not respected. That's just, Dan, I know police officers all over the city. I got friends that work all over the city. I'm speaking from reality. That's the fact in Boston. And we get open borders. They're bringing MS-13 gang members directly to Massachusetts. Those guys are dangerous people, Dan, and they're allowing them to come here because we're a sanctuary city. Another reason why should you risk, Dan, why should you risk your life to take a bullet? You know what?
John, if anyone is out there tonight, and thank you very much for everything you said. I saw a video today of a police officer. This is on a body cam. Was off the dash cam as well as his body cam. This fellow was pulled over. He's writing someone a ticket or giving him a warning. A car comes in the other direction. The guy gets out of the car with an axe and attacks or tries to attack the officer. The officer had a nanosecond to respond. Thankfully, he responded, shot, and killed the attacker with 4 or 5 bullets very quickly. How he ever did it, I don't know. But if you ever want to see a chilling video, if you can find that tonight on YouTube, just put in police officer attacked by man with an axe. It is frightening. You see it from both directions. First from the dash cam of what the attempted attack, and then you see it from the body cam. This incident occurred a few months ago, and apparently it has just been released to the public, so it's easy to find. John, I got one more I got to get in. I loved your call. Thanks for calling back. You are right on the money. Absolutely right on the money.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Well, let's go next to Mary in Boston. Mary, thanks for calling in. You're on with Larry Calderon. Go right ahead, Mary. Okay, thank you very much. We're having trouble with our phones here, folks, so if we will reboot our phones during the 9 o'clock newscast. Mary, if you call back real quickly, we'll try to get you back on. That happened to John. It also happened to you. I have no clue what the problem is with the phones tonight, but we've had a bunch of calls that have dropped off. Larry, please keep us posted on how this evolves. It will be interesting to see how many police officers decide to transfer into the city of Boston from other communities based upon the obstacles that people have talked about tonight. I give you final word, Larry. I appreciate you taking the time tonight, and I think we've got a lot of information out to residents in Boston and elsewhere.
I love coming on the show. I love sharing information because transparency is what we're all about down here. And I want to thank John for that passionate description of what police officers face out there on a daily basis. And you mentioned that YouTube video. You know, let's go back to just a half a dozen years ago where body cameras were supposed to be the panacea, according to some of the smaller organizations around the Commonwealth, that we needed to have body cameras on every police officer, regardless of the cost, because it was going to show widespread corruption by police officers. And you know what? That's a complete failure from that point of view. What body cameras have shown, and by the way, let me say it again publicly, the BPPA supports the wearing of body cameras. The city did a very poor job of negotiating compensation or any change to the agreement, but that's in the past. What it has shown, Dan, is that police officers do impeccable work. Their bravery is unquestionable. And so much more often than not, the video cameras from these body cams are exonerating police officers from false complaints. They're showing what a great job police officers do on a daily basis. That's first. Second part of what John said is we talk about this city council disrespecting the police officers, not paying them in one of the most expensive cities in the country. They were very quick to just vote themselves for 20% raise. They had no problem ushering through 20% on top of their salary for what some might argue is a part-time job. You know what? How about showing that same respect when it comes to police officers? Stop nickel and diming them. Stop pretending that they're not worth more than what we have, and negotiate, settle, and get us a fair contract.
Well, you know, do you want to? What do you guys look? You've been out of a contract for 2.5 years, so. Normally the contracts are 3 years, so by the time you finish this contract, you're going to be back at the bargaining table, right? Unless they give you a longer term contract. What would you like to see the city do, if you can tell us?
Yeah, I'd love to see the city come forward and negotiate in a fair, respectable manner and pay the men and women of the police department like they do the men and women of the fire department, our brothers and sisters across the street. We're looking for the same parity and benefits that the fire department enjoys. So
you're also dealing, like everyone,
about
you're
the
dealing with
20 to 30
inflation.
police officers going to the fire department. It's because it's a more respected job by their membership, their command staff, the elected officials in the city. Their benefits are better. You know, it's no secret that they have a great job, and we don't begrudge them. They deserve it. But so do the men and women in the police department.
Larry, let me just jump in for a second. Everyone has been affected by inflation of 8% in the last year, which means pretty much you lose a month's pay. There are 12 months in the year, so what would... is it public record, or can you tell us what you would like to see, you know, in the 2 years that you've been working without a contract and going forward? And I only got 30 seconds.
And I'll have to be quick and just say that we are in the middle of filing at the Joint Labor Management Committee, the state agency that's going to set up the arbitration. I'm not quite sure how in depth I can go, but our position hasn't changed. We're looking at wages, we're looking at residency, we're looking for equal educational benefits for our members. We're looking to do something about the public safety detail changes that the mayor and the council want to do. And it's all open in negotiations. It's a give and take. If the mayor wants to change the way we do business, then she needs to give the men and women of the police department something in return for those changes.
All right, perfect. Larry, thank you very much. We're flat up against the news. We will talk again. Let's get you back on here soon as this negotiation continues. Let's lay it out there and let the people of Boston know what you're being offered and what you should be offered. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
I'd love it, Dan. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Larry Calderon of the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association is going to come back and talk about abortion pills available at your local pharmacy.